Good morning and welcome to the Raffles Crew podcast. This is the second of two discussions that I'm having with Bill Padfield about our forthcoming Leaders in Tech event at Kotu on the 4th of November. Good morning, Bill.
Morning, Simon. How are you?
Yes, I'm very well. We had a discussion earlier in the week, which is a little bit somber, looking at what was happening in fintech investment. I thought I'd dig up some numbers, and Singapore is clearly still the center of fintech investment in Asia. The numbers 9 months to date are 2.6 billion, which is US dollars, which is not an inconsiderable amount of money. Um, Significant drop on 2023, which was I understand the biggest year. And I think, and I'm going to ask you to comment on this in a moment, but I think the other thing that was quite remarkable is that whilst late stage funding dropped somewhat, there was a 55% drop in startup funding. Do those numbers sound about right based on your experience?
Yeah, the fintech one, even though I don't have specific numbers, doesn't surprise me. If there's anything that's getting funded in this part of the world, it's certainly fintech and particular parts of fintech, which we can drill into later if you wish. But right now, the kind of three hubs around this part of the world, absolutely Singapore. I would also argue that India is still getting its fair share of investment in fintech, but also the UAE, in particular Dubai.
Yes, I'm getting it's interesting. Apropos of nothing, I've just got asked to start a Raffles crew in Dubai by people who want to do it there. So things are happening there, and people want to come together and they want to network and they want to talk about their startup ideas. So that's brilliant. Well, this is as good a time as any to talk about the sweet spots in fintech.
Yeah, there are particular areas that seems to be attracting investment. And through my own background, I'm not a natural in fintech, but I'll try and give you my thoughts on it. The areas of investment is things like embedded finance. B2B infrastructure is big in the whole world of APIs, white label, and so on. The world of payments and cross-border
Mhm.
remittances is still big. And even though there are a lot of companies around ASEAN, Africa, and the Gulf that are doing this whole thing about digital commerce is still driving a lot of startups and attracting a lot of capital. Wealth tech and digital asset infrastructure is another area where people are being quite serious about investments. And then reg tech and compliance automation is another area that seems to be attracting. But the key way that companies are attracting is showing that they've got real capital efficiency. They need to show that they're running the business effectively. And those funds that are in this space that invest in fintech are really looking to make sure that you've got a good business model showing good governance and, if possible, early profitability, because they don't want to just keep funding ideas. They want to show real business models that are really scaling, and they will attract capital.
Let's come back to that in a second because I really do want to drill into what differentiates a startup that gets funded from one that doesn't. But it struck me listening to your list of what's getting funded that these are very pragmatic things. These are capabilities that directly address reduce transactional costs, reduce risk, reduce funding costs, things that are front and center for many companies now as they perceive uncertainty and risk and rapid cost increase. Would that be fair?
Yeah, very much so. And if they start to talk about generative AI or agentic AI, they want to make sure that that really is being applied to cost reduction and areas that really are hitting the numbers rather than just lovely ideas and concepts. It just has to be shown that it's again a pragmatic tool that's helping your business model.
Because as we've discussed before, there's still a feeling of risk. No one quite knows what's going to happen again. Okay, well, I think one of the things that we wanted to talk about today, as we encourage people to come to the 4th of November to network with successful startups, with successful investors and interested investors, is what advice would you give to somebody with a new and disruptive idea in order to help them get funding in a difficult environment?
Yeah, funders still invest in people. So having a strong background in a relevant part of the market is critical. Also having a team that you've assembled that really are impressive rather than just a group of people that you've got together one night. And they want to see that from the very get-go, you're walking, talking, acting like a board member. They want to see fiscal discipline without a doubt. They want to see that you're measuring the right unit economics. They want to make sure that you've got a sensible understanding of what a cash runway is so that you're not just wasting cash. One of the fund managers that I've been speaking to a lot this year said over 2/3 of money that's raised is often wasted because of lack of fiscal discipline on startups. So they want to know that you're talking about gross margins, gross margin resilience as you grow. And I think one of the main things in a pitch nowadays is operational realism. They don't want to just see that, here's the growth track today, and when you invest, it's going to go like, because they automatically discount that from the very get-go. So they want to make sure that you really are operating a business rather than just giving a growth narrative about, everything's going to be wonderful.
That's a very interesting number. 2/3 of investment cash gets wasted.
Yeah, and this is a very successful managing partner of a fund in this part of the world. And I won't name him to shame him or embarrass him, but it is very much a key belief that because so many of these guys, they may be brilliant software engineers, brilliant scientists, they may have a deep, deep interest and background in high frequency trading or some area within the financial world. It does not mean they're great at running a business. And this is what they want to see today, is that you really do have that operational discipline. And this is something obviously that we built Salamander around, was to help companies like this who lack this type of background.
Now, Salamander is working generally with Series A and Series B companies, so a little bit later than startups. So what are the most popular things that you're being asked for at the moment?
Surprise, surprise, it's finance, particularly post-funding. People that are realizing that they've got demands now from investors, and surprise, surprise, these guys expect a return on their investment. And therefore, this fiscal discipline is something that they're looking for help. And I think, again, part of this growth period, whether you're a startup or a scale-up stage company, is that you are open to the right type of advisory work and understanding that you may have a successful business that you're going to build, but it's blood, sweat, and tears that gets you there. It's not luck. And
Now,
you have to learn how to run an effective business, not just have a wonderful idea and people are going to, buy 1,000 of these things a day. You got to run an effective business, and that's where you need to learn. And this is why we built this company, and others like us.
a lot of entrepreneurs have clever ideas, but not a lot of business experience. It has to be said. Coming back to because I was very interested to see that Salamander has in fact launched a new finance offer. Can you say a few things about that?
Yeah, there's three things that we've packaged now for fixed price rather than a slight deviation from where we used to do, where we would go into companies, we'd do a scoping exercise and quote on the back of the scope and so on. We've realized, having spoken to a number of VC funds now and taken their direct input on what's missing in the market, as well as talking to a lot of founders. And it's turned out that three things are in requirement from a finance point of view. Number one, helping them prepare their numbers, their data room, everything about their business in preparation for a fundraise. And that's interesting to VC funds because they may have invested at this stage, but they need to know that you're ready to get a further investment at the next stage, which is how these guys obviously build their wealth in your company. The second area is in the playbooks and dashboards and everything to put in good governance, which is something I touched on earlier, that is necessary for board reporting, forecasting, cash management, runway management, and so on. And then the third area that we've offered as a package is shoulder-to-shoulder operational support on a day-to-day basis. These are for the companies that realize that they need this discipline, not just once a month, but they need this discipline next to them every day to help them run, forecast, and manage their numbers like a professional organization. So we sell those now as distinct packages, and we're offering it across the countries that we operate in, which is 14 countries to date.
A multinational, as we said before.
Multinational, but not global.
So, ladies and gentlemen, 4th of November, Bill and his team are going to be present at the center of the universe, 4th of November from 4:30 in the afternoon onwards. You can seek them out, you can talk to them, you can get advice wherever you are in the startup continuum. Also, we have Wavemaker with us. Want to say a couple of things about Wavemaker, Bill?
Yeah, they are one of the largest, if not the largest, early stage B2B tech and deep tech fund in Asia. I've had the privilege of working with these guys for a number of years now, and I am actually an advisor to the fund. But they've been fabulous to work with as an organization such as Salamander. And I know a number of the founders that they've backed, and they speak very, very highly of the way they behave. So I like this fund very much. I like a number of other funds too, but it will be a great opportunity to chat to the people or the person that turns up from Wavemaker. And I'm being a little bit vague because you never know on the day who's going to turn up, but it'll be great to have them there.
Well, about 40 people have signed up so far, Mix, and that's only a week in, so we're expecting 100. Salamander, Wavemaker, and of course the Raffles crew are delighted to bring you Leaders in Tech on the 4th of November. And because the motto of the Raffles crew is in colloquio gaudium, and we all need a bit of Latin on a Thursday morning, let's face it, that means we rejoice in conversation. And we expect to see you on the 4th, and you can rejoice in some conversations with me, with Bill, with Wavemaker. Do sign up. We'll see you then.